Okay, we are going to be doing a seasonal book rec video. So we're going to be doing romance books to read during the spring and summer. It's currently spring right now. It doesn't look like it outside, which you guys can't see, but there's like snow on the ground everywhere. I feel like spring and summertime is the best time to read romance books. So these are going to be romance books I've already read, and they're all around like the 4 to 5 star range, for me at least. I don't know if all of these give off like spring or summer, but I mostly chose them because of the feeling I got from them. Even if some of these don't give off spring or summer, I kind of just want to talk about them because I really like them. Anyways, I think I have around 18 books, so I'm just going to get started. First one we have on the list, The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I've only ever read one Catherine Center book, which is this one obviously, and I've been wanting to get into her other books because I like this one so much. Also, just a warning, these descriptions are going to come out of my head, like I didn't write anything down except the book title, so please bear with me. So The Bodyguard by Catherine Center is about a celebrity and then a bodyguard, but surprisingly the bodyguard is actually the woman in the relationship. I don't know, I feel like in most bodyguard tropes the guy is the bodyguard. So the guy is a celebrity and he is going back into town, I think to visit family or something, I don't know, but I think it's also mentioned in here that he has a stalker, and so to like not worry his family or anything, he hires a bodyguard, but he asks the main girl to fake date him so that his parents don't know he hired a bodyguard, but also so that they don't worry. And obviously there's a romance that happens between him and the bodyguard. I'm so sorry, I'm so bad at remembering names. I believe all of Catherine Center's books have no spice in them, which honestly I'm really happy about, and also another reason why I want to read her other books. Next book, If You Could See the Sun by Anne Liang. This one's a romance mixed with magical realism. It's also young adult. Wow, I'm really not good at remembering names today. Okay, so the girl in this book, she kind of has like this made-up rivalry with another guy who's like handsome, good at studying, good at everything sort of thing. He has really good grades, and so it's kind of like academic rivals to lovers. But then one day the girl main character in this book, for some reason she randomly just starts turning invisible, and so obviously she's like, oh okay, this is a problem, I don't know who to go to, so I'll just go to the other smartest person in the school that I know, which is the guy that she kind of hates. By the way, the guy is completely clueless that she hates him. Oh my god, this is gonna be so hard without names. Maybe I should have searched up names before doing this video. This was my first Anne Liang book ever, and it's the reason I got hooked with Anne Liang books in the first place. So good. She also uses like her invisibility to handle like jobs and everything. It's kind of like people don't know how she completes the job, but she completes it with her invisibility, which obviously she doesn't tell anyone, but kind of like the secret service. And then the guy helps her out with it, make sure she's safe, make sure she doesn't do anything reckless. Also, Anne Liang's love interests are just so sweet all the time. They're like the nicest boys ever, and then the girl's always like the academic weapon. Next book, Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer. This one kind of starts out crazy. Oh my god, I just remembered the guy's name. I actually talked about this in a podcast yesterday and I could not remember the names for the life of me, so I remembered it now. So the guy is Declan, the girl is Juliet. So Declan works in a graveyard, and one day he finds a letter near a grave and he actually reads the letter. So then another day Juliet goes to that grave because it's actually her mom's grave, and so she sees that her letter got opened and she's like, who the hell opened my letter? And she sees that Declan wrote a note at the bottom of her letter, but she doesn't know that it was Declan. And Declan's kind of like the outcast in the school because his dad, I believe, went to prison for something. Yeah, but Juliet's reading the note at the bottom of her letter, and so she writes him back, and so Declan goes back to the grave, sees there's another letter, reads that, and so it kind of leads to this back and forth thing, secret identity, letter writing. One of them eventually finds out one of their identities. It's not exactly enemies to lovers, but it kind of is. Like Juliet has this bad encounter with Declan in school one day, and so it kind of leads to her not really liking him, but also them secretly developing this friendship without them knowing it. Next book, This Time Is Real, also by Anne Liang. This one's fake dating. It's with a celebrity, and then, okay, if I'm remembering this correctly, this girl releases her essay on some sort of school blog. It goes viral online, everyone in the world sees it sort of thing. But the thing is, in the essay, nothing in it is real. She's describing this love life she has, but it doesn't exist, and so she kind of has to figure out, oh my god, everyone thinks this is real and this woman wants to interview me and talk about my love life, which doesn't exist, and so she has to go find this boyfriend that'll help her, fake boyfriend, and it ends up being the celebrity guy who also goes to her school. Yeah, and so they start like this whole fake dating thing, go to interviews, and since he's a celebrity, it's like even better obviously. He gets more recognition, starts getting more acting jobs, and her is just like the world doesn't find out that she's lying. Also, normally I'm not the biggest fan of fake dating, so if I'm recommending you a fake dating book, I'm really hoping you'll read it. Next book, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Jacob and Bree, right? So they both work in this hospital, but Jacob's known as like this potentially very intimidating surgeon that everyone doesn't like because he didn't exactly have the best day on his first day at the job. But secretly he has like a bunch of anxiety, and it's just like that's the reason why he doesn't talk to a lot of people and why he doesn't approach a lot of people. And so the second main character, Bree, kind of finds out one day, oh, this guy isn't as bad as he seems, and they start this fake dating relationship. I forget why, but Jacob's mom is like a relationship expert, so Bree's like, oh my god, we have to be as thorough as possible so we don't get caught. Yeah, I'm really drawing a blank on why they started the whole fake dating thing though. Oh my god, I love Jacob though, and he's so in love with Bree too. I loved reading their story. It did get a bit chaotic near the ending. Other than that, there's also like subtle letter writing in the beginning of this book, which I love. I always love letters in books. Please comment down below if you have books with letters in them. I'm like desperate for it. Even if it's the tiniest crumb, I will take it. Next book, this one's kind of surprising actually. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Most of the Emily Henry books I read after this book I haven't liked too much, but this one is actually my favorite by her. I think it might be because this was the first one I ever read by her, but there was just something with this one that stuck with me for some reason. So with this one, the guy and the girl, they have like this really bad encounter the first day they meet. They end up meeting like either months or years later or something like that in like this really small town because the guy is visiting his family. The girl, I don't really know what she's doing there, maybe a getaway of some sort, but it's just like, hey, I recognize you, I had this really bad encounter with you. But then they start talking and figure out like, oh, they're really not as bad as they seem, sort of thing. They have like this fling and they start hanging out more and more, get to know each other more. I think they're also both publishers, like they're into books and things like that, hence the title Book Lovers. I just think the ending of this book really got to me. I don't know why I like this one so much more than her other books, but just like the romance in the guy in this book and like just the decisions they had to make to keep their relationship live, sort of thing, just really stuck with me for some reason. Next book, More Than We Can Tell by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the second book in the Letters to the Lost series. They're both standalones though, so you can read them in whichever order you want. So this one is about Declan's best friend, who I'm forgetting the name of. He has like this really bad past. He's also adopted, kind of rough around the edges I guess, but also like just a nice guy in general. So he kind of meets this girl behind a church one day and they start this conversation and they're like, oh wow, this person's so nice, and like they have this connection. And so after that they keep meeting up behind that same church having conversations and then gradually just start hanging out more. The girl also has a problem though where she has a stalker, an online stalker. She's a video game creator I think too. Next book, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is the first book in this series, but again they're all standalones. You can read them in whichever order you want. This one is about a doctor and a guy from the country, this really small town. So the girl one day kind of gets stuck in a ditch and the guy shows up, pulls her out of the ditch. At least I think that's how it started. And then they somehow meet in a bar again. They get to know each other, talk a bit more, then have this one night stand. But it's just like after that one night stand, it's kind of like, oh wow, I really like this person. And so they keep meeting up over and over again secretly without any of their friends knowing, or at least without any of the girl's friends knowing. The guy's friends, he's like wants to shout it from the rooftops and everything. But the girl comes from like this really rich family background. Her family is like full of really famous surgeons, and so she's like, wow, they probably won't accept this guy, and so she thinks that this is temporary. But the guy's just really sweet, wants to be with her, but because of her family situation they really can't be, and so they just continue having a little fling every now and then. I feel like small town also gives off like spring book. I don't know why. I always love a small town setting. I think that's like the one repetitive trope I can get behind because you get to know like everyone in the town, sort of thing. Next book, She Gets the Girl by Rachel Lippincott and Allison Derrick. Thank god I actually remember the names, Alex and Molly. So Molly is like this shy type, kind of introverted, not very social, and then Alex is the very social type, but she also just broke up with her girlfriend right before she went off to college. And so Alex and Molly both go to the same college, but Alex is trying to be better because her ex-girlfriend will come to visit her at the college a couple months later, and so she's trying to become a better person and convince her girlfriend to get back together with her. And so that's when she meets Molly at a party and accidentally flirts with her crush. But then her and Molly kind of make this agreement where Alex will help Molly get with her crush, and then Molly will put in a good word to Alex's ex-girlfriend. This was so cute though, because they kind of started out as like not really liking each other too much to being friends, and then obviously to secretly liking each other, but they're both just like, oh my god, I can't like her, like she has a plan, like she has a crush, she has an ex-girlfriend. I just like them hanging out so much. Like I love couples who are together but aren't together and they hang out together, because that's basically what this whole book was. And it's also just Alex teaching Molly how to live life, sort of thing, how to be more social, how to like go after what you want. And then Molly is kind of just showing Alex like what an actual good girlfriend looks like. Molly's just so nice and so sweet, and Alex is like, oh my god, is this what I want? Next book, A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by Laura Taylor Namey. This one definitely gives off summer. So the girl in this book, I believe either her grandma or her mom died. She's kind of filled with a bunch of grief, and to help her get over that, one of her parents, I think, sends her off to London to work with her aunt in a bakery or something. And she meets this guy who's like, hey, I'll help distract you, I'll help you have the best summer ever. And so he has this list full of things he wants to do with her before the summer ends and before she goes back home. At least I think it's before the summer ends. I could be totally wrong about the season in this book. Obviously they start this romance. I also remember a motorcycle scene. Next book, Worst Wingman Ever by Abby Jimenez. This one's a short story actually. I think it might only be on Kindle, or you can order it as an ebook, I don't know. But with this one, the girl main character is taking care of her grandmother because she's gonna die soon, and so she goes back to the apartment building every now and then to take care of her grandmother. But then there's also this construction guy, I think that's what he is, and he's in like the parking garage of the apartment building one day when he sees a car with a flat tire, and he's like, oh wow, maybe I should like let this person know they have a flat tire. And so he leaves a note on her car window, and obviously the girl comes back to her car and is like, who left this letter? She reads the letter, sees the flat tire, and she's like, I forget what happens. I think the next day she also leaves a note on her car, and she's like, oh, thank you for letting me know, I've been meaning to change it but I just kept forgetting, I don't have time, sort of thing. And so I can't remember if she gets it fixed or if the guy fixes it for her, but from there they just keep exchanging letters. Again, love books with letters in them. I need more. I mean, Jimenez's short stories stories are always so good though. Like even though they're so short, they're packed with everything I need. Also, I feel like with short stories, there's never that third act breakup, which even better. Yeah, but the letter writing keeps continuing and it's like a secret identity thing. They don't know what each other looks like because obviously the guy's only seen her car and the girl's only seen his letters. So good. Letter writing mixed with secret identity is honestly the best in my opinion. Next book, Imogen, obviously by Becky Albertalli. I feel like I don't talk about this book enough actually. So it's about this girl named Imogen, obviously, and she's known as like the straight friend who has like a bunch of queer friends around her. I think one day she goes either to visit her sister or best friend in college. Might be best friend, I'm pretty sure. But she gets to know her best friend or sister's friend group. And there's this one girl in the friend group named, I think it's Tia or Talia, or it starts with a T, I'm pretty sure. It's something like that. And she's like, oh wow, I get along with this girl really well. Like we have so much in common and like we have so many interests and I like talking to her. But it kind of confuses Imogen, like, wait, I'm straight. Like I don't like this girl, do I? It's kind of her like figuring out, even though I haven't liked a girl before, that doesn't mean I can't like a girl now. You know, it was so sweet and like just their little sparks of connection every now and then in this book. There was one scene where they were stuck in the closet together and then when they finally followed each other on social media, started thinking, oh my god, I really need to reread this book. Okay, next book, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I'm realizing now how many Abby Jimenez books I have on here and you guys will probably read them anyway without me even recommending them, but she's so good. So the girl in this book travels a lot because she's like some sort of traveling working nurse or whatever. But yeah, she has to travel a lot for her job and so she travels with her best friend. But this girl also has really bad luck in dating. Like there's a specific thing with her bad luck where I think she can only date a guy for a specific amount of time and then eventually they'll break up with her. Like that's the trend that's been happening with each and every single one of her relationships. She sees a guy on Reddit one day who has the same exact issue as her and she's like, hey, oh my god, I'm the exact same. And so the guy is like, well, why don't you come to my city and we can date for a specific amount of time and maybe that'll cancel out our curses. Yeah, and so the girl is like to her best friend, do you want to go to this city and I promise you'll get to pick the next one. And so then the girl and the guy obviously plan like this temporary relationship. Like they're in a relationship but not for long sort of thing, you know, because the girl has to leave eventually and the guy just stays there. But yeah, he just plans the entire thing. This one was so good though, and I feel like the third act breakup in this one made sense compared to like every other third act breakup I read in other books. Next book, The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. Holy crap, I feel like I just read this book and I'm already forgetting the names. Okay, I remember the guy's name is Michael and then the girl's name is Stella. Okay, so Stella is on the spectrum. She's always had trouble with dating, always feels anxious when she goes to date guys, but then her parents are like, please go find someone, like we want grandchildren and everything. And so Stella hires this escort named Michael to kind of help her figure out with dating. And then Michael is having like money issues, I think, which is why he's doing the escorting job in the first place. Yeah, but then Michael's like, oh okay, I'll help you with dating until you can start doing it on your own sort of thing. But obviously they start falling in love. Michael's like obsessed with her. Stella becomes obsessed with Michael. This one was really addictive. I read it in one day. Okay, I think the next book is We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian. This one was like a cozy slow burn sort of. I don't know, it felt cozy to me, but I forget the two guys' names obviously, but they both work for like this newspaper firm. One guy's been working there for a while and the other guy just came in because he's the newspaper company owner's son. And so the other guy is kind of like bitter towards him because he's like, oh my god, this guy only got the job because he's that guy's son. But then they become friends and like they start hanging out more. Guy number one starts taking care of guy number two because guy number two is really clumsy. Guy number one fixes like his apartment sink. He like finds his keys for him whenever he loses them. Really wish I could remember their names because guy number one and guy number two is really not a good explanation. Yeah, guy number one secretly has a crush on guy number two though because this is set around the 1950s and so gay relationships aren't really accepted around that time. Yeah, so guy number one has to suppress his feelings and then guy number two is engaged, but later that engagement kind of gets ruined and so they start living together. They were roommates. Oh my god, I remember their names. It's Nick and Andy. Okay, Nick is kind of the grumpy one. Andy is the son of the owner. And it's just like so good, so cute because they pine over each other so much secretly. There are minor misunderstandings, but honestly I think it makes the pining even better. There's no third act breakup, which I was so happy about. Also, I feel like the way this was written was really interesting because the chapters are kind of really long, but it switches their POVs. I don't know, you'll just have to read it to find out what I'm talking about, but it was definitely written really interestingly. Next book, I Hope This Doesn't Find You by Anne Liang. This one's my favorite Anne Liang book, 5 out of 5. Okay, I'm pretty sure their names are Sadie and Julian, and these two are actual academic rivals. Like, they seriously hate each other in the beginning, and they're competing against each other. They're both the school captains too, and they're both so good at school and just studying and everything. But then there's kind of this incident where Sadie's email drafts kind of get sent out to the whole school because she used to write email drafts as like a diary entry to people she didn't like so much, and obviously most of them were to Julian. Like 42 of them were to Julian, like hate emails. That gets sent out to the entire school one day. Everyone reads them and starts hating her, and obviously Julian's like, what the hell, why is there 42 emails from you in my inbox? And so the principal kind of intervenes one day and is like, you two need to start hanging out, show the school that you actually get along, go clean the school shed, like do a bunch of things together until you can resolve this. And so yeah, that leads to them hanging out more, start getting along, and start fixing some misunderstandings here and there. The secret pining in this one too is so good. Also, technically there's no third act breakup in this one. I don't know, I feel like there's different definitions for a third act breakup for everyone. Like for me, it's when the couple actually gets together and then they break up. Some people it could be like they're not even together but there's a misunderstanding sort of thing. There are slight misunderstandings in this book to get get to the ending, but they don't actually get together and break up. They get together and stay together. Next book, You and Me by Tal Bauer. This was the first ever Tal Bauer book I ever read. I really want to read more of his books. So this is an single dad romance. They're both single dads actually, and their names are Luke and Landon. So Luke's wife died sort of recently, and he's having trouble getting along with his son. And so he goes to the football field one day because his son plays football, and he goes to watch him, and he meets this guy named Landon who also has a son who plays football, and he and Luke's son are best friends. And so Landon's like to Luke, why don't you come join like this committee of parents that help the football team every now and then to reconnect with your son? And so Luke's like, okay, I'll join. And then that leads to Luke and Landon hanging out more, getting to know each other more, start from friends to lovers. This one's so good. I reread it so many times. I also just think I might be a fan of secret pining. There's a lot of secret pining in this one because Landon thinks Luke's straight, and so Landon's trying not to fall for Luke because obviously he doesn't think he's into guys, but then Luke's like, I'm obsessed with him. I love a couple who's in love but also don't know they're in love already. Next book, and it's the last one. This one definitely gives off summer. It's The Lucky List by Rachel Lippincott. So the couple in this is Emily and Blake. Emily's mom died about 3 years ago and she's still dealing with the grief, and then Blake and her father moved back into town because they used to live in this town like years ago, and Emily and Blake's fathers are best friends, and so they start hanging out, which means Emily and Blake start hanging out more because they also used to be friends when they were children. And so that kind of leads to Blake helping Emily pack up their house one day because Emily's father wants to move out of that specific house into another house because they can't afford the house anymore since her mother died. But Emily finds this list in her mother's things of things her mother did before she wanted to graduate, and so that kind of leads to Emily wanting to complete the list before summer ends, and Blake ends up helping her with that, and they start this romance obviously because they hang out a lot more. I just love couples who enjoy being together. This one's also set in a small town. Rachel Lippincott's romances always hit though, especially her sapphic romances, I feel like. Also, it's just Emily dealing with her grief in this book. I feel like it was written so well. But yeah, that's it for the list. I hope you guys could take some recommendations away from this video, and yeah, I don't know, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!